Intrigue Media. Get noticed, get found.
So this is going to kind of pick up with where Rob left off last time a couple weeks ago. And we're going to explore some of those ideas and some of the technical things a little bit more. And we're also going to get into a bit of kind of figuring out exactly which words and search phrases and keyword phrases that people use and how to arrive at the ones that we want to use for our clients. I think before I get into it today, there's one thing I want to share. I remember sitting in my kitchen in Hessler on Queen Street when I first started working for a web company before Intrigue. And my boss said to me, she's like, check out this webinar from HubSpot. It's all about SEO. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever, SEO. What does this even mean? It's some random acronym. And I sat there for 45 minutes, and the guy, it was Mike, I can't remember his last name, but he's the CEO of HubSpot, and he proceeded to talk about how websites have started doing these practices to optimize their websites to show up when people search for them. And he shared all these really cool case studies about how all these businesses had been transformed and became market leaders in their local communities, all through having the website that showed up first when people searched for it, and showed up for phrases that people didn't know that business helped them for, I guess. So basically they found businesses they didn't know were there, all because the websites had been optimized that way. So it's a very common practice now in the web world, but 4 or 5 years ago it was a very new thing. And I just remember sitting there just like, my mind being blown at the end of my work day, just sitting there, like Bethany came home and I was just like sitting there with my jaw on the floor, and she's like, why is your jaw on the floor? And I was just like, SEO. So anyway, I'm really passionate about this. I feel like I've been around in SEO quite a long time. There's been a lot of things that have changed over it, but at the end of the day, a lot of stuff stays the same when it comes down to good quality content and new good quality content. That's really kind of a common thread that's going to be throughout this. So that's a little bit of my background with SEO, and there's going to be a couple more of these seminars that I'm going to explore a couple different topics. So this is, I think, one of our best examples, Champion Mortgage. We built them a website before I started with a third-party company, and then we revamped their website a couple years ago when I started, and then we revamped it again last year. And throughout this, we've been optimizing them for a handful of different keyword phrases, but the big one that comes to mind, and the most important one of the most important ones for them at least, has been Guelph Mortgage Broker. There's a lot of mortgage brokers in town, and there's a lot of competition to show up at the top of Google for this keyword phrase. And I'll show you what we've done. So these are all ads, these are all Google plus local reviews, but when you get down to the first organic result, you've got champion.ca. Oh. And for years and years, it was Paul Gazzola, which is this one, I believe, right, Rob? Yeah. So eventually, I think it was over the past year, we kind of came out on top of these guys, and for a while there, it was always switching. But this isn't something that happened overnight. We've been working with them on it for 5 years now, and today I want to take you through how we figured out that was the phrase, and kind of some of the things that we did on their website to make their website get to the top of Google for that phrase. So there's 2 questions: which keywords are best, and once I know which keywords to use, where do I put them? Those are essentially what we're going to be answering today. And I think really the big theme here is relevance. So you just want to give people what they want. So if you worked at Tim Hortons and somebody came in and ordered a double-double, and then you said, all right, I'm going to give you a double-double, and then at the end of the line they got a tea that was black, they would probably be pretty put off. So the idea with SEO is to give people what they order. So if somebody types in Guelph Mortgage Broker, you want to have your search result display Guelph Mortgage Broker, and you want the page, when they click on it, to display Guelph Mortgage Broker in every possible way. If somebody searches for Milton Mortgage Broker, you don't want that Guelph page to show up because they're not looking for something in Guelph, and it's completely irrelevant to them. And it's getting more and more specific with communities and geographies, and but it's also kind of getting less specific in a way as Google's getting smarter with a couple ideas called co-occurrence and citations that I'll explain in a little bit. But at the end of the day, people want what they want, and you want to give it to them as quickly as possible. And SEO, there used to be a lot of really bad, kind of under the table, shady tactics that you could use, and they're called black hat techniques for getting your website to the top of Google. And Google's gotten pretty smart with kind of weeding most of that out. But it used to be really easy to get to the top of Google really quickly for something that was really just kind of crammed full of spam, essentially, but had the keyword appearing in a lot of places. So Google's gotten smarter now and has figured out a lot of ways to give people what they want and give them the best version of what they want.
Great out.
I just found that on Google. I haven't actually listened to it. So, which keywords are the best? You've got this giant sea of keywords. Like if you're in the mortgage broker business, you've got if you're a mortgage broker, you've got mortgages, you've got mortgage agent, you've got buying homes, home financing. The list goes on and on. So, how do you know which keywords are the ones that your customers are searching for, and are the ones that you know that you can get to the top of Google for? And that's where we enter in this process that we call keyword analysis. So I can take you guys through a high-level version of how we do this. But there's two things that are very important when you're doing a keyword analysis. You want to start small. So you want to find keywords that people are searching. Ideally, a lot of people are searching in your communities, but that don't really have a lot of competition. So you want to find the words that people are searching a lot that don't live on websites yet, essentially. And we'll go into that in a little bit more detail when we go into the analysis. And this is just Calvin and Hobbes. I thought that was hilarious. The other one is you want to start specific. So Andy Stanley said if you have the only hot dog stand in town, your hot dogs don't have to be very good. So if there aren't any websites on the internet with the keyword phrases that are on your website, it's going to be really easy to get to the top. So that might just become another way to say what I just said about starting small, but we're going to focus on those two ideas. And we're going to do this in Keyword Planner. So I'm going to open this up in the marketing account. So this used to be called the keyword tool, and we used to use it a little bit differently than we use it now. But for the most part, this tool has remained the same throughout the years. There are a couple things that I'm going to do here. I was using this last night, so I'm going to actually resume my session. So when you have, actually I'm going to start over from the beginning. Awesome. Right here?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So we're going to click on Find New Keywords, and I'm going to search for new keywords using a phrase, website, or category. So you can type in something that we're going to focus on. I'm going to pick Champion Mortgage for the sake of today. So I'm going to go Wealth Mortgages. I'm just going to go champion.ca in there. And you can pick a category from here. So you can type in real estate. Mortgages are in here, so we'll just go with that. And Champion specializes in first-time home buyer mortgages, so we're going to go with that. So I'm going to click on Get Ideas here. Let's try it again. Do you know why this isn't working on me? Do you know why?
Sorry.
This worked last time when I did it. Is there a way to like just reset everything?
Okay, where are we? Are we in? I'm just gonna check on.
Ah, perfect. Thank you.
And then if they found you, just do start over.
Cool. Great, thank you.
That should work.
So we're gonna try this again. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. So we're gonna go with mortgages. And then here we got a couple things that are really cool. You can target the geographies, so you can see how many people are searching in those specific geographies, as opposed to just searching all of Canada or searching the whole world and getting results that don't really reflect how people in our geographies are searching. So we're gonna go with Guelph, and then you can type in things like Mississauga or Milton, or if you're lazy like me, you can click on nearby, and you can pick other cities. So you can go Milton, click on add, you can add Cambridge, you can nearby, you can see what else is in here. We've got Hamilton, Kitchener, you can add Kitchener, and you can just keep on adding all these things in, and then until you find what you want. And then if you find that, like, say you wanted Breslau and Breslau isn't in there, you can just type it in here and then it'll add it in. Oh, it looks like it's just Kitchener. Okay.
Oh, Breslau's probably too small.
We're not even in Google. It's okay, that's okay.
Sorry, Star. We will not see these ads.
It's okay.
So that'll give us an idea of who's searching for these keyword ideas in these specific cities, because these apply directly to Champion. And then I'm going to hit save on that. English is already set. We're just targeting people who speak English, so that's fine. Google is set here. That's just the default. I'll just go with that one. Negative keywords. We don't have to worry about that for what we're doing right now. The date range, it's going to show
Can
you
you
that.
just touch on it a little? What is it?
Negative keywords are, if you're using this for AdWords, negative keywords are things that you don't want your ads to show for. So if people are typing in, like for example, Champion isn't a discount or a cheap type of company. So you might want to type in words like cheap or cheapest or discount or whatever it is, or lowest rate. You might not want to have those ads, if you're using this for AdWords, appear when people use those search phrases. That way they're getting in front of their A clients and not in front of everybody. We're going to keep the date range for the last year, and then if you want to filter out stuff by different options, you can filter by average searches, competition, all that kind of thing. I'm just going to leave these set to default, and then I'm going to click on get ideas. Now when this loads, it's going to give you a bunch of ad group ideas. I'm just going to click on the next tab here and go to keyword ideas. Oh, come on. I don't know why this isn't working. Oh, here we go. That works. So normally, when you click on keyword ideas, you'll see a bunch of things here that give you a whole ton of keywords. This just gives you a couple here to start what we're doing, because it'll essentially look the same. And what you'll see here is average monthly searches. You'll also see a column in here that shows competition. And when you, like, if there's a keyword that says high competition, medium competition, or low competition, you can add it over here on the right to your group. You click on add to plan. Say I added all these over here. You can actually click here, it's very hard to see, but if you zoom in here, you can download the plan. And this will export it as a CSV. And when you download it, you can see the actual amount of competition for your search phrases. And I'll show you how this actually plays out, because we've added it into our keyword analysis. Here we go. So we did a keyword analysis for ArtMed, and using that tool, we downloaded all the keywords that we felt fit our category, and this is the type of data that we got out of it. So this is the part that I want to show you guys that is really important. So here's our list of keywords, here's the number of average monthly searches in the geography of Guelph, and here's the competition. So competition is scaled from 0 to 1, and 1 is very high, and 0 is basically none. So we want to shoot for keyword phrases that have a lot of searches, but have very low competition, because it would be very easy for us to get to the top of Google for those keyword phrases. And once we get to the top of Google for some low competition phrases, then it's going to be easier for our website to get to the top of Google for medium and then high competition phrases. So when we started off optimizing champion.ca 3, 4, 5 years ago, we had Guelph mortgage brokers on there, but we were also targeting lower competition phrases that were related but had essentially less competition on the internet. And as we got to the top of Google for those phrases, then it became easier for us to get to the top of Google for things like Guelph Mortgage Broker, Guelph Mortgage Brokers, Mortgage Brokers, Guelph, that kind of thing. And that's why we started small, so it's that snowball effect that we talked about earlier. So anyway, there's your monthly searches, there's your competition. We go down here and then we can see that there's a bunch of phrases that we didn't choose. And the ones that are green are essentially the ones that apply most of their business and the services that they want their website to be found for. That also have the most monthly searches and the least competition. So one in here that is green that has a lot of, has more competition than the others is this phrase, laser hair. It has 0.6. But with the way Google works, if we use the phrase laser hair treatment, we'll rank for both laser hair treatment and laser hair because it contains it. So if we use this phrase, we'll start to compete, we'll start to rank very high, and then that'll help us rank for this smaller phrase later on. Does that make sense? Is there any questions about that? Lots of nodding heads? Okay, cool. So we've got, essentially that's the keyword analysis. And once you have your keywords, you need to work with them. So this is a little bit more technical breakdown of where we put the keywords on Champion's site. And Rob talked about some of these ideas briefly in his presentation, so we're going to dig into them a little bit more. And I'm going to show you guys how to find them in the code. The rule of thumb is, with keywords, if you can put them anywhere, you want to put them everywhere. So you want to fill in all the blanks. In your code, you want to put keywords in every possible section that you can have keywords from that analysis. And you want to couple those keywords with the geographies of your client if it's a geography-based business, or the communities of your client if it's a worldwide-based community. So for example, restoration design, auto parts or custom auto parts wouldn't be enough by itself. We would also want to couple that with Porsche or Porsche automobiles because that is their specific community, whereas Champion, the community, is Guelph. So, Guelph Mortgage Broker, if you go back to here, I've actually taken some snippets from the code on their website so you guys can see all the different areas, and I've kind of ranked them in an order of how important they are. It's always changing with Google how much Google weights these on-site factors. So where you put these keywords may be more or less important. So I've kind of put them in order. So title tag is one of the most important ones. This is what shows up when you search for something. It's the little blue bar in Google above the page, and you click on it, it actually takes you to this site. That's the title tag. If you've written a good one, Google will use yours. If you've written a spammy one or just a low quality one, or you don't have one, then Google will generate its own. So it's really important that you do that. So on Champion's site, the title tag contains the keyword Guelph Mortgage Brokers. And it also contains Mortgage Broker Guelph. This was really good when we first wrote it a couple years ago. Now it's borderline keyword stuffing because we're basically saying the exact same thing twice. So we could probably make this better. But for the purpose of today, this works really well. The next one is the meta description. So I put this one in brackets because it used to be very important for search ranking, and I guess for whatever reason, probably due to spammers abusing it and using the black hat SEO techniques, it's not as important as it used to be. With that being said, we have had a meta description containing mortgage brokers in Guelph on this website for the last couple of years. So this was important in helping the web page rank, and it boosted its rank over time because of this, and it still has been there. Now this is more important for writing great copy that'll actually cause people to actually click on the search results rather than actually affecting the rank itself. But historically it was a really important one. So the next one is the domain. So there's a couple things that are interesting about this. Champion.ca doesn't have Guelph or mortgage or brokers in it, yet it still ranks #1 on Google for Guelph Mortgage Brokers. And this was actually one of the main reasons for a long time why tobemortgagefree.com outranked Champion.ca, because it had the word mortgage and Champion didn't have the word mortgage. But Google's changed the algorithm over time, and we've also done a couple other things to help Champion.ca basically make it so that the domain doesn't need to have keywords for it to be #1 on Google. And there's a couple reasons. We're going to get more into this stuff into the off-site SEO session that I'll be doing in a couple weeks. But for what we're talking about today, there are 3 things I want to kind of outline. So has anybody ever heard the phrase co-occurrence? They got 2 hands, good. So co-occurrence is, it's a part of Google's algorithm that determines basically what your website is about based on the information on your website and the information that appears about you and your website across the internet. So if you wrote a website all about Hoover vacuums, but you didn't actually use the word vacuum cleaner or vacuum machine, and you talked about how Hoover's the greatest brand, they've been around for years, they have beautifully designed devices, and you say all this stuff, but you don't actually use the word vacuum cleaner. Google has scoured the internet for long enough to know that when you're talking about Hoover, you're talking about Hoover vacuum machines. So because of this, your website can be ranked very highly. So if you don't have keywords in certain areas, but you're known across the internet in your community for that keyword phrase, maybe on other websites or on social media, then you get a high co-occurrence of a match. So you can talk about Hoover, have the site be all about Hoover without saying vacuum cleaners, and you can type vacuum cleaners into Google and your website will show up. So that's a very black and white extreme version of how co-occurrence works. The next one is citations. Does anybody hear about citations? Cool, a couple more hands. So citations are essentially when people talk about your website, not necessarily linking back to your website, but they're talking about it online. So one of the ways we're doing this for our clients currently is we're linking our community pages on our client site, and we're trying to network our clients together and get them to give us the okay to put links to relevant other clients that we have. So for example, on Champion's website, we're linking in their footer to the Osta Group's website because Champion is a mortgage broker, and Osta can help you out with your home insurance and life insurance when you buy your home. So it makes a lot of sense to have the two linking to each other. And that link, and I think we're doing the same on the Osta Group's website. So we're doing it for both of them essentially. They're linking to each other. So that will actually help them both rank better for different keywords over time. And due to the fact that they're both very strong local websites, that's going to give them a nice little boost in their search results. So the more of our clients that we can do that with, the better their search ranks will be. And we're also doing this with our leadership lunch blogs that link and talk about all the different clients in our community. And we're also doing this in a couple other ways. I think one of the more notable ways would be when we write a little review about our clients and why we rebuilt their websites, or why, telling some of their stories, that kind of thing. So that's citations. The other one is domain authority, and we'll talk a lot more about this in one of the next ones because it has a lot to do with offsite factors. But essentially, it boils down to a couple things. Domain authority is a score out of 0 to 100 that you get from a lot of people saying your website is good by linking to it and by being around for a long time. So the more high quality websites in your community online link to you, the higher your authority will be, and the higher your authority is, the higher you will rank. And the other piece is having your domain registered for a long time. So champion.ca has been registered since the 90s, and it's registered for the next 10 years. So it's kind of like, it's not a huge factor, but it's one of those factors that it tells Google that, hey, we've been around for a while, and we're going to be here for a while. They look at your domain. So if everything about your website and your competitors' websites are the same, but they have a new domain, you're going to beat them every time. So that's the domain factors. We've got, I think, 3 more factors, and then we'll wrap this up. The last one is the header tag. So Rob talked about how the initial idea behind Google was to search a bunch of documents and figure out which information was important in each document. And the heading 1 tag, the big title of the document at the beginning of the document, gives you a lot of information about it. So on Champion's website, if you scroll down, you'll see the giant text says mortgage brokers in Guelph, so you can see it right there, and it's in that H1 tag, which is the code version of heading 1. And this is one of the tags that Google ranks very highly in terms of importance of on-site coding when it determines what your website is talking about. So it's important to have only one of these on each page, and we have one of these on this page, and it says mortgage brokers in Guelph. Got a couple more here. I just scoured the code quickly. There's links in the footer of each page of Champion's website, and one of them links to the Champion Mortgage Brokers Guelph page. So I think it talks about their Guelph team on that page. And if you roll your mouse over, the title text shows up and it says Guelph Mortgage Broker. And the actual link, when you see it, it says mortgages in Guelph. So we've got 2 out of the 3 keywords there. And every page on the website is linking to that page with those keywords. So it's telling Google, hey, this is a really important page and this was what it's about. One of the last things we have here is alt text. Alt text is what screen readers use to tell people who can't see images what the images are. So this is an image of Champion's logo, and it tells the person using the screen reader that this is Champion Mortgage Broker in Guelph, Milton, and Mississauga. When the screen reader reads it, Google can't see images. Actually, I think they can start to see images now, but they couldn't. So over time, they've used this as a way to help determine what websites are about. So just another blank for us to fill in with that keyword. And we've got Mortgage Broker in Guelph in there as well. Last one is in the code. I haven't seen anybody else ever do this. So I don't know how big of a factor it is, but this is something that we do just to go above and beyond. This is another blank to fill in. This is from our code. This is one of the background images on the site. So the actual image file name contains mortgages in Guelph in it. I think most people don't optimize their file names for that. And we even put it into our CSS style sheet. So when we're talking about basically what the website should look like and putting all the rules in, we use a little section at the top for keywords too. So basically no one could ever look at our code and say, well, you could put in more keywords, because we put it in every possible place. So the last thing I want to show you guys really quickly is how to find this stuff. I googled screaming frog and that's what came up, so that's what that picture is. It's a program we use, which is a crawler, and I'll show you guys really quickly what it looks like. You can download the demo and it will crawl up to 500 links on your website. We also have a license for it, so if you find yourself using it and you want the license, just let me know and we can activate it, I think on as many computers as we want. I ran Champion through here, but really quickly you guys can see that on each page it gives you, here's the title tag, here's the address of the website, here is the H1 tag. You can also see, it's down here. If you go down here, you can see the images that are on the website and what their alt text is. You can go all here, and I think you can add a column here so you can see the images that have alt text. You can also see the ones that are missing the alt text. This is a check that we do on every single website before we go live with it. We make sure all the images have alt text on them. So this is a really quick way to get a very tactical snapshot of what's on a website, and we use this. Mike uses it a lot every month to review which websites need some work on this stuff, and we use our monthly website maintenance when we don't have very specific tasks for clients to go in here and figure out what can we do on this website to make it better from an on-site SEO perspective. So anyway, that's SEO 201. Questions?
Intrigue Media. Get noticed, get found.